Welcome back to the channel. In today's aviation news recap, there's focus on Singapore Airlines launching a new route. Lufthansa City Airlines is about to commence scheduled operations after much build-up, and there's some relatively bleak news for Airbus, and that's where I will begin, who have officially cut their delivery target that previously stood at 800 commercial aircraft deliveries across 2024, down by 30 units to 770. Furthermore, the plane maker has adjusted its expected rise of production for other aircraft types, such as the A320neo family. Most notably, this delay comes in the form of the expected 75 jets produced per month. This represents a record and was previously expected to be hit at the end of 2026. Airbus is now adjusting its expectations and says this should be reached at the beginning of 2027. Analysts and enthusiasts have continued to analyze what is a very challenging operating environment for your leading aircraft manufacturers across 2024 and have long been citing their concerns about Airbus's previous target. At the end of 2023, Airbus was clear in its intent to deliver 800 aircraft at minimum in the 2024 calendar year. The goal did represent an increase from 1 year prior, but it was equally an optimistic one given those complexities that I've discussed on numerous occasions now across recent months. After much deliberation, Airbus finally decided to lower its expectations for the calendar year 30 units. These developments follows new production difficulties alongside labour shortages that are impacting the plane maker. These were cited at the beginning of June. At this point, sources from Reuters said that the newfound difficulties were going to have an unclear impact on the manufacturer's yearly delivery goal. But now, after studying the impact of these production difficulties and their ability to meet their end delivery goal, it's clear that this is unattainable and a reduction is necessary. And while the first 5 months of the year were reported to be encouraging, they were clearly not up to the standard that Airbus had expected, which meant they were forced to rethink their forecast. The belief was that Airbus had already gone through its brief allowance period where it would be able to have slow delivery rates, but with that not necessarily easing, reaching the target of 800 obviously seems to be out of the question. Airbus faces challenges from many angles, including cabin interior and its staff, among other key focal points, such as even obtaining engines from key engine manufacturers. Furthermore, it really is hardly the only manufacturer that is feeling the heat, and while its delivery forecasts now represent a drop, they are still considerably higher than what rival manufacturer Boeing will be able to achieve. Across in the United States, this plane maker is facing battles that are gravely affecting its own ability to deliver aircraft, including its most popular 737 MAX. Manufacturers are coming together and having to adjust to the new normal, and they're navigating all of this in a relatively bruised state. On to the next story, and depending on not when you choose to watch this video, as I know some of you may consume this content a couple of days later, Lufthansa Group has formally revealed that City Airlines will formally commence operations on June the 26th. Again, maybe it's already happened by now, but there's been a lot of work to reach this moment. I have been documenting the upcoming launch of this airline now since 2023. City Airlines will debut service using the A320neo from Munich to Birmingham. It will depart at 9:10 in the morning as VL2508. This new carrier is aimed to serve short and medium haul markets across Europe, including the largest markets that Lufthansa does call home of Munich and Frankfurt. The hope is that City Airlines' services will feed key traffic from key European markets into these major cities. Once City Airlines flies into Munich or Frankfurt and passengers deboard the aircraft, they will then be able to very easily jump on board a mainline flight, looking more so towards those long-haul flights that are operated out of these locations aboard wide-body jets. City Airlines says that the first A320neo will fly to the likes of Birmingham, Dusseldorf, Hanover, and 2 other locations. Following this initial period, we'll see on July 27, 2024, a second aircraft join the company, an Airbus A319 with service to Bordeaux, Berlin, and Hamburg. Moving forward, more single-aisle Airbus aircraft are expected to join the fleet, allowing for the gradual expansion of their network right across Europe. The company will strictly use A320 family jets, with 8 more A320neos and further A319s expected to be delivered from within the Lufthansa Group in the next 12 to 18 months. But from 2026, City Airlines will truly feel like its own entity as we welcome the first delivery of the Airbus A220, specifically the A220-300. This was an aircraft type that was purchased last year, with 40 units selected, basically to act as the future of the City Airlines division, not only bringing greater levels of efficiency, obviously, and a very modern feel, but great customer satisfaction levels. Lufthansa Group has a long history of launching airlines such as these, and you'd be forgiven if you definitely get a little bit confused about their purpose and what exists. But each has their own identity and purpose, and obviously Lufthansa Group wouldn't launch it without a key reason and or vision. City Airlines is now the latest in a long line of these. On to the last story in today's recap. Singapore Airlines has announced flights between Singapore Changi and Beijing Daxing International Airport, which will commence on November 11 of this year. The airline says it'll operate daily flights between the two locations. The route, though, is still subject to regulatory approval. Singapore Airlines highlights Beijing and the convenient access provided by offering service to Daxing, located just south of the city. Beijing Daxing isn't the only route that is being reshuffled. Singapore Airlines says it's going to be making further changes to Beijing, with service towards Beijing capital from August 5th to 2024, seeing a boost in flights from the previously offered 18 upwards to 21. So that means adjustments to Beijing capital and the launch of flights to Beijing Daxing will result in the airline offering 28 weekly flights to the capital of China by the middle of November. Singapore Airlines will utilize their 787-10 on the route, featuring 36 business class seats and 301 in economy class, thus being a 2-configuration wide body. SQ810 will depart Singapore at 12:30 in the morning, arriving into Beijing Daxing at 6:35. Meanwhile, SQ811 will act as the return leg, departing at 9:25 in the morning from Beijing, with a same-day arrival of 3:50 p.m. back into Singapore. Flights will complement existing services to other cities in China, which extend to 24 destinations on the mainland, resulting in definitely an abundance of weekly flights. You've got to remember not just mainline Singapore Airlines, but also the low-cost unit of Scoot. That's going to conclude today's aviation news recap. Thankfully, you won't have to listen to my damaged voice anymore. Yes, it's the middle of winter down here in Melbourne, Australia, and while the temperatures are certainly not as harsh as the likes of Canada and other locations, which I've had the, I don't know if I'd say pleasure of experiencing firsthand, it does get very cold down here, and many people get sick, and my voice is definitely not enjoying recording these videos at the moment, so I appreciate you sticking through, and normal proceedings will resume very soon. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow. A reminder, you're more than welcome to leave any of your thoughts down below in the comment section. And we'll